There are some who are feeling anxious about what school might look like in September. This is why, throughout the pandemic, we've been working closely with teachers, parents, support workers, principals and vice principals, superintendents, trustees, and Indigenous rights holders to ensure that health and safety in BC schools remain paramount. Today, we are announcing that on September 8th for the next school year, we are moving to Stage 2 of BC's Education Restart Plan. Stage 2 will see most students returning to the classroom full-time, with new and enhanced health and safety guidelines co-created with the Provincial Health Officer, the BC Centre for Disease Control, and public health experts who have so steadily guided our province throughout the pandemic. We also have an Education Steering Committee in the Ministry of Education, with membership from all education partners, parents, teachers, and staff, who are working hard to help us with these new guidelines and to ensure that students can safely return to school in September. The committee's work will continue to meet throughout the summer, collaboratively developing plans and providing solutions to any challenges that may arise before the new school year begins.
We know that schools can safely reopen if community transmission is low. And even though we've had an uptick in the last few weeks, we know that we have flattened the curve here in BC, and we know we have what it takes to continue to keep our transmission rates low. And we've taken the measures that we needed to make sure that when we do see cases arise, we adjust our requirements to stop the transmission in those particular places. And that is working. We're seeing that now. A key aspect of a full return to school are what we've created, cohorts, or what we're calling learning groups, that will be created for every school across the province. The principle behind these learning groups is to create groups of students and staff who will remain together throughout the school year or term and who primarily interact only with each other. By creating these learning groups, students and staff within each group will be able to safely spend time together, maintaining distance as much as possible throughout the school year. And while they may not be in the same classroom, learning groups will be able to connect with each other during breaks in common areas and places like the playground, the gym, or the library, other important learning environments in the school. It also means that in the event of a case of COVID-19 in the school, the potential for transmission will be limited, and the ability for public health to quickly complete contact tracing will be far easier and far less disruptive. So for elementary and middle school, each learning group will have at most about 60 people. And that seems like a lot. That's not all in the same classroom. But it will be segregating by grades so that there's less mingling in the school environment. For secondary school, it will be up to 120 people. And again, that's a maximum, and that doesn't mean that you will have contact with all of those people every day. It means that that is the bubble, if we will, or the learning group that will be used. Learning groups are smaller in the elementary and middle schools because it's more challenging, as we know, for younger students to maintain that safe physical distance. So we want to reduce the number of people and focus on reducing physical contact between students. Older students are also much better able to practice hand hygiene and recognize if they're experiencing symptoms of COVID-19. And as we know from the data, younger children are much less likely to get infected with COVID-19 or to pass it on to others, whereas older children are much more like young adults, where they often do not get severe infection, but they are able to pass it on to each other, so we need to be more careful in those groups. Don't necessarily expect there to be cases in schools. I think it's inevitable. There probably will be some, but that's not the biggest concern. As we say, it's more as we're opening up society and having more contacts. So that's why we have to find that balance. So this plan is very similar to how we have managed all along, trying to keep numbers small and manageable. So we minimize the potential for transmission, and we also maximize our ability to efficiently find people and make sure that the transmission chains are stopped.